Friends, you're very welcome to another installment of our free Friday community classes. But before we get started on this week's topic, which is lunar cycles in plant spirit work, I have a little note regarding video and audio quality. This is day 3 that I've tried to record this class for you, and I'm hoping that you don't hear a bunch of background sounds. I don't know what amount this particular camera will pick up on, but long story short, I am coming in to film these classes increasingly earlier in order to try to avoid all of the weed whackers and leaf blowers, and it's just not happening. So today is day 3 of me sitting around for a couple hours waiting for the leaf blowers to stop, and they haven't, so I just have to film the class. I don't know why they're going all day, every day in this neighborhood, but they are, so it is what it is. So if you can hear a drone in the background, I apologize. Hopefully, as I move into the new location in the city, this won't be a problem anymore. And if it is, I'll figure something out then. So with that being said, let's get into the class. Now, this is going to be a slightly shorter class because I'm going to give you just enough to chew on, and I would like to see folks take this information and run with it, see what it means in your work, see what it means in your own spiritual practice, your own magic, your own ritual, your own meditation, and especially your own ways of aligning to the subtle and not so subtle tides of nature via the lunar cycle. So what is the lunar cycle? It is that beautiful 28, 29, 30-day journey that the moon takes as they move through their respective phases. From new moon, and I actually like to really split hairs here, and I talk about the dark moon, which is the nights where there is no moon visible in the sky, 0 moon. The new moon, which is that first 1, 2, 3 nights where the moon's just got the tiniest little sliver. Folks in my hemisphere, that's on the right-hand side. You get that little sliver of light. That's the birth of the new moon. So the dark moon and the new moon are 2 different things. We have the waxing phase where the moon is increasing in size night after night. We have the full moon, which is a couple of nights when the moon is at its brightest. Then we move into the waning phase where the moon gets smaller and smaller every night. For folks in my hemisphere, the darkness will come in from the right side of the moon, and then we return to the dark moon. So those phases seem to happen up in the sky. They seem to be celestial occurrences, things that influence space and light and the circular rhythm, the circular breath of the stars more than anything. But oh boy, are the plants wrapped up in lunar tides. And I think it's very important to understand this because when we do, even just a little bit, we can kind of jump into the cycle and align our work to what's happening. It's kind of like when you see people doing jump rope, double Dutch jump rope, right? Like that rhythm is happening and you're kind of sitting there watching it, waiting for the sweet spot, and then you jump in and then you're in it, right? So we want to get in it. And the moon is a very effective way to do that. Now, of course, we have solar cycles as well, but the solar cycle takes a year. Sometimes it's harder to see those little subtle shifts because the moon or the sun comes with these big seasons, right? Like it's summer, it's autumn, it's winter, it's spring, and they're like these big 3 or 4 month events, and sometimes it's hard to see the subtleties within the seasons. So I think the moon is a really cool place to start. We will absolutely do a class on solar cycles as they relate to the plants, obviously. Chlorophyll mysteries, right? That's all wrapped up in sunshine. So the moon. What we're going to focus on today is what are the plant spirits doing at the different phases of the moon, and what could that mean for the way that you interact with them, that you do work with them, whether that's making herbal medicine, casting spells, charms, and other workings of herbal magic, crafting your own rituals, doing things in your own life like warding and protection work, cleansing and purification work, working on your ability to rest, working on your intuition and divination skills, right? So we're going to kind of go over the place. So let's start from the beginning. Start in the dark, as is typical and classic in the Celtic world, starting with darkness. From the darkness we all emerge, from the darkness light emerges. So we start in the dark. At the new moon, no moon in the sky, dark. You go outside, no light other than what comes from the stars, or if you're in the city, you got to deal with the light pollution. And this is a time of mystery. This is a time when it's harder to see the details of things at night, when the shadows conceal many things, when it's hard to understand the truth of things because everything is concealed and shadowy and hidden. And this represents the other world. This represents the world of the unknown, the world of mystery. And so at the new moon, when there's no light of the moon in the sky, of course the moon is there, they just aren't reflecting sunlight back to us here on Earth, wherever on Earth you may be. The plant spirits are retreated into their roots. They are fully invested in their own world, on their own side of the hedge. Okay, this will all make sense as we go through the cycle and then wrap it back up. So at the dark moon, the plants are down in their roots, in the dark, in the hidden. And this is not literal darkness. This is darkness in the sense of occult, unseen, unknown, hidden, mystery. Okay? So the plants are down in their roots doing their thing. As the moon starts to wax, as the light gets more and more, as the moon gets bigger and fuller night after night, those plants begin to rise from their roots up into their aerial parts. And there is a biological function aligned to this, where the sap of the plant with the waxing moon will start to draw up into the above ground part of the plant. The plant will also start to lift and adjust their posture a bit. The water, the hormones, the chemistry, the energy of the plant starts to lift up. So as the moon gets brighter and brighter, the plant draws more and more and more into our world. They become closer to our side of the hedge. They become more invested in our reality until we get to the full moon, when it is said that the plant spirits are fully on our side of the hedge. When they are here, they're strong, they're vital, they're active, they've been well rested, and it's very easy for us to communicate and work with them, especially by the light of the full moon. Right? So then what happens after the full moon? We enter the waning phase, and the moon starts to get smaller and dimmer, getting littler every single night as the plants begin to retreat slowly back down into their roots, leading to the new moon, the dark moon when they are back in. So this is a cycle of being fully in their world at the dark moon, being fully in our world in the new moon, or the full moon, and then going back to their world at the dark moon, coming back to our world at the full moon, and so on and so forth, endlessly cyclical as these things tend to be. So what does this mean for our work? Firstly, it means that at the dark moon, we can do rest. We can do works of mystery, of divination, of journey to the other world, of shadow work, of all the things that are represented by darkness. What does it mean at the full moon? It means that we're able to see and perceive things that normally we cannot see and perceive. You can now go outside to the same location that you were during the dark moon, and suddenly what appeared to be a snake you see is your garden hose coiled up in the backyard. You're able to make things more clear vision-wise. You're able to navigate space more easily. There is light for you, right? And so we can do works of vision, foresight, clarity, healing, manifesting, abundance, growth, all of these things that are represented by brightness and light. So we're moving from dark to bright, bright to dark, dark to bright, back and forth. And this dance gives us an opportunity to step into alignment with nature, to really get into the vibe of what's happening with the plants. There are endless ways that we can do this. Here in my shop, we try to make herbal medicine in alignment with the moon, starting our tinctures, for example, at the dark moon, starting them in mystery, starting them in stillness and quiet and the gathering of life energy, and macerating them for 14 or 15 days, all the way up till the full moon, when that plant is fully invested on our side of the hedge, and then pressing and making the medicine, right? So there's a ritual component to crafting the herbal medicine. You can time your workings with the plant spirits around where the moon is. For example, when we are trying to make contact with a new plant spirit, sometimes it's easiest to do that under the auspices of a full moon, when that plant is more present on our side of the hedge, when they're more invested here, right? And it doesn't mean you have to go out at night and be under the literal full moon, because that influence is always there. And then maybe you can follow that plant down to the dark moon and then start an official journey with that dark moon, where you journey from dark to bright and back to dark again, subtle to powerful, back to subtle, to learn the various voices of that plant spirit. So this is really where lunar work becomes important, is that we're understanding that the plants have their own cycles. They have a way that they do things, that they've always done things, that the plants themselves, the green realm, is in relationship with the moon. That the plant realm and the moon have this sacred reciprocity, this dance that they do with each other that's incredibly powerful. It happens regardless of whether we're involved in it or not. It's between them. But that there is absolutely an invitation for us to enter into that dance as well, to join into that sacred circle. And we do that very, very simply by just aligning our work to the tides, by doing the right things at the right times, by leaning into the fact that there are times of the month when it's easier to reach out to plant spirits than others. The full moon, for example, that there are times of the month when entering into stillness, into quiet, into darkness is easier at the dark moon than it is with the buzz of the full moon, okay? So we're just subtly chiming how we do our daily meditations, what we're working on, what we're contemplating, what we're reading, what we're asking for, what kinds of medicines and magics we're working on, based on that sacred dance that's happening between the plants and the moon. And understanding that that cycle in and of itself generates a profound amount of power. And so we're kind of just, through our sorceress workings, tapping in to this milling that's happening, right? This generation of power, of vital force. We're just tapping into it and letting that flow through whatever work we do. So you don't have to overthink it. The beautiful thing is, we just walk outside and we see, where's the moon, what's happening, how does it feel? Maybe we sit several months being mindful of the relationship between our plant allies and the moon, and how things feel different depending on where the moon is. One thing that I like to do is, if you have an herb that you work with consistently, for example, I take ashwagandha every single day as one of my tonic herbs. How does that medicine feel, taste, smell, move different in your body at the dark moon versus the full moon, right? So all of these really cool invitations to start aligning our lives to lunar tides. So that's it. I'm not going to get into what kinds of magic you should be doing when, because the invitation is there for you to go play with it and see how it feels for you to go enter into your own personal relationship with the moon and the plant spirits. Create that tertiary, that triangle of power, and see where it takes you. So with that, let me know how it goes. Share some experiences in the comments, or if you're already following lunar tides, let me know what you're doing. If you want access to our deeper classes and courses, come over and hang out with us on Patreon. It's a good time. There's always fun stuff going on over there. And until next week, take care.